This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, senior leaders, and C-suite executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number one. In a few sentences, please tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Belinda Fisher, and I am the Director of Operations at JSC Federal Credit Union. And I've been in this business for a little over 18 years now.
Holy cats, you probably have one or two things to teach us about operations then, huh?
Just a few things. But the really cool thing is that I actually just switched roles about a month ago. So that's really interesting. It's very nice to see the other side of it.
That is super fun. Well, good. So then you're going to have multiple perspectives with which to share with us today. I appreciate that. So, as you think about leading people, as you clearly have done for quite some time, what would you say is the best thing about leading people through change?
Uh, for me, I think it's really seeing them go through the entire change curve
Mm.
and them going from I'm not really sure and I'm a little insecure about this to them turning around and going, oh my gosh, we did it. I can't believe we did it. We actually did it. And then they take that excitement and that passion and they teach someone else about it, and they're your biggest champions. That's really the best thing about it for me.
It's so cool because you make me think about how, it's so empowering to show somebody the possibilities and then to provide them the path with which to achieve those things. I mean, that really just gave me chills thinking about it, how
Yeah,
impactful something like that can be.
yeah.
That's so cool. So then as you think about that, what piece of advice would you give to other leaders about implementing change?
There's a lot.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
um I always say explain the why, right? I think that if you explain the why, the people around you not only have the highest propensity to be bought into it, but also to be your biggest champions, and really help rally everybody else around you. Make sure that you're communicating that internally and externally. And think about the unintended consequences, because sometimes we think, oh, we want to change this and it's going to be so fantastic. But maybe we get caught up in that and we don't always think about what this change could do, right? And so I
Mhm.
think understanding that change can affect other things that we don't always think about. And I think it's great to, bounce those ideas off of each other and talk to your team about them, because they have the best insight, honestly.
Well, and you find oftentimes too that sometimes we think that this needs to be fixed, but when you talk to the team, they're like, no, no, that part's fine, but it's this stuff over here that really needs to be resolved. And so oftentimes you can fix the wrong things sometimes if you're not really communicating and getting people involved and certainly helping them to understand why we're doing it. Right.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes people will tend to put a band-aid on something, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, no, let's work the problem, right?
Mhm.
Because then we don't have to take the band-aids out anymore. So yeah.
Which can rip off like duct tape sometimes and,
Yeah.
stingy. So during this last year, I've heard a ton from other leaders that it's just been a nightmare trying to hold people accountable and to motivate folks in the virtual environment. I'm curious, have you had some of those same challenges and what's been your experience and how have you overcome that?
Well, I definitely think we had challenges. It's so funny because it's March 18th, and you
Don't
know
get me started.
a year ago in a day is when I started working from home,
Hmm.
and thinking about everything that we had to do, and being a leader that has actually managed remote teams and led remote teams for a while, that wasn't that difficult. I think the most difficult part was understanding that my team was now going to have to learn how to lead remotely.
Oh, yeah.
And so that definitely put a different perspective on it, and understanding that now it was my job to pivot and to change the way that I led so that I could make them successful at being leaders in a remote environment, and making sure that we gave a lot of grace, and that we were understanding that we didn't have to have control issues and that we should delegate and we should empower people. And all of those wonderful things. And it definitely was a challenge, but you do it, you try it, and if you got to fix it and you got to change it and move forward, then that's what you do.
Right. Exactly. I think, you're hitting the nail on the head. I've been hearing a ton about micromanagement issues and, fear that people aren't being productive. And I haven't seen the lack of productivity per se, but I have seen people feeling more and more frustrated with just the amount of meetings and the amount of, checking in that needs to happen. So this balance that we've needed to strike between over communicating and under communicating has been, I think, a real balance and dance.
Yeah, let's have a meeting before the meeting, right?
To talk about the meeting, and then let's have a recap meeting to see how we did.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, that is so true. So true.
That's funny. So as you think about daily practices for leaders, what do you consider, what's one that's the most important for you, that non-negotiable?
I think a non-negotiable for me is always remembering that it's about the people I serve,
Mm.
and that's my team. And being in the position that I'm in, I'm not directly helping members anymore. So if I'm not directly helping them, I should be helping someone who is.
Right.
And I think just understanding that and making sure that I'm always saying, how can I help?
Mhm.
How can I help? And I think that to me, that makes a huge difference. And just being genuine in what you're saying and mean what you say and say what you mean.
Do you find that that's been even more important during this remote time period, that you're actually checking in on people? I've been hearing a lot too that we need to go the one step further to actually check in on their wellness, not just like, hey, you got everything? Is everything going okay? But like truly, are you taking breaks? Are you getting away from the computer? Like, how are you feeling? And have you been experiencing that too?
Oh, absolutely. And I think letting them know it's okay to not be okay,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It,
Yes.
it's okay. It's okay if you need some time, right? The world's not going to stop spinning.
Mhm,
We got you. We
mhm,
support you. You're good.
mhm.
And I think just having all that stress on top of, you know, parents now having to be teachers and, counselors and, taking on so much and being stuck, at home or being remote and just something they're not used to on top
Yeah.
of everything else going on in the world. If they can have some relief, why not the leaders give it to them? Why not be there to support them and let them know it's okay? It's really okay to not be okay.
Well, and talk about building loyalty, commitment, and raving fans, right? I mean, you give to people during this time period, and they'll move mountains for you. At least that's my perspective.
They absolutely will. Absolutely.
So you clearly have your stuff dialed in here, Belinda, right? So you clearly got your ideas. I'm sure you get some of this stuff from your resources and the people around you. I'm curious, what other successful business leaders like yourself should be on the show? Who else should we be listening
Ugh, how much time do you have?
to?
There's so many. I gotta say, I've been really fortunate in my time in my career to meet some amazing people. And if I could list them all, I would, right? But I don't know that I can. And I don't know that you want to talk to everybody in the same group either. So, but definitely my leader, her name is Christy Jordan. She is the CFO at JSC. She's a rock star. She's amazing. She's um, one of the most genuine people I've ever met. She allows me to do my job, and that's amazing too, right? Um, Sarah O'Brien, who is the senior vice president at Randolph Brooks Air Force Base Credit Union. She's such a smart and amazing woman and leader, and the way that she communicates with people and that she can relate to them is really inspiring, that you're able to see that and actually be a part of that. And then I would say another really good leader that I love to bounce ideas off of and that just brightens my day is Chris Bauer, and he's the CEO at Endurance Credit Union. Um, they all have great qualities about them, and their leadership is just amazing. And I think that I am who I am, and I'm able to do what I can do because I've met all of these amazing people.
That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, and I'll go seek them out and see if I can't get them on the show, because I know our audience would love that. But I'm curious, since thank you so much for being here, and we really appreciate having you. If somebody wanted to reach out and introduce themselves, how might they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn, and they can also email me at bfisher@jscfcu.org.
Fantastic. Well, my audience knows I'll have the information down in the link so they can find you that way. But Belinda, it's been such an amazing time talking with you. I love your ideas. I love that wall. It's super fun, that goes right along with your personality, bold and, all like right out there. So I just love
Thank
it.
you.
Please do come back and join us on the show again in the future if you would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, this is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator Podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.concilioteam.com. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care. Bye.